Negative 6 dB has become the industry standard level that mastering engineers would love to see every project come in at. This allows a mastering engineer to have room for dynamic range, room for EQ changes, room for compression, room for mastering. So this isn't only for mastering engineers, this is for any of us, myself included, who master their songs themselves. It's a really simple trick. It costs you no money. It's really easy to do. There's a couple of rules to follow around it, and I'm going to tell you right now. Before I tell you what this secret sauce plugin is, I need you to do one thing in your GarageBand project, okay? And that is going to be opening up what GarageBand calls the master track, more commonly referred to as a master bus. If you don't know how to open this, here's how you open it. Come up to the track menu, click on track. You're going to look for what says show master track. Mine says hide, obviously, because it's already visible, okay? So you want to turn on the master track, and then we're going to come down and we want to look at the plugins now, and it's secret sauce time, kids. Here it is, our good friend, the gain plugin. If you don't know how to find the gain plugin, it's really easy. Open up the normal plugin list. You're looking for the utility folder, and it is the only lonely little plugin inside of the utility folder. So you're going to open this gain plugin. You're going to turn it on, and look at this. I have it set already to plus 6 dB. Okay. So now this is set to plus 6 dB. What you want to do next is mix your song, right? As you go around mixing, and one thing I will say, I really like starting with my drums at -5 to -6 dB. I start with my drums there. This is for auto drummer people. If you're using auto drummer, start with the drums kind of low. -6 is a good place to start. Mix around those drums, and most likely and inevitably, you will want to bump those drums up a little bit. But what you've done is given yourself headroom to do that with, okay? Headroom, 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 people. So another thing that I want you to pay close attention to when I push play on this song is how none of my levels are A, going into the yellow or the red, or the fact that they are not passing the little ball fader more than a little tiny bit, okay? So let's push play and just look at these faders. So as you can see, nothing is going over very much or staying there. If it happens a little bit, it's no big deal, right? If the drums hit extra hard somewhere, a guitar part or a vocal, if something peaks for a minute, not a big deal. Let's just say on average, you really want it to live around that little ball, okay? And again, no yellow, no red, never. Okay. So when you start doing this, I want you to understand that it's going to have a compounding factor. So we're going to start at the top again, and we're just going to look at this level right here, right? So this is the master bus, and here's the master output, okay? So you can see that down here, I'm not going much past the ball, but up here, it's going a little bit past, okay? As I add the bass in, we get a little bit more. And, you know, if I go around and start adding things, the level in the master bus will inevitably become a little bit bigger, right? It'll be louder. So while you are mixing, not only is it imperative that you pay attention to these meters and the levels that they are running at, it is absolutely positively imperative and essential that you are paying attention to this master bus output and this master output of GarageBand. Even running this at plus 6 dB, you want to make sure that they are never hitting the red. And if they do, it's just a little tiny bit. Maybe once you'll see one little line. Okay, that's fine. All that's saying is that you crossed that 0 dB mark, which is not what you want, but I'll just say, in GarageBand, we don't have all this precision. So if you see it once, like no big deal, you could probably pull this thing down a little bit more and try to mix around it, or actually turn it up a little bit more and then try to mix around that, But if you live at this plus 6 dB, this should work, okay? Just remember, try not to see any red in this output if you can help it. Like I said before, a little bit, not the end of the world, we can live with it, but the less, the better. So anyway, so let's turn these all back on and keep listening because we're coming up to the loudest part of the song. So now that all the channels are on, you'll notice how much more signal is hitting this master bus here.
But it's hearing it facing at me. Somehow still out here and alone.
Here comes the chorus.
I'm staring at you, an army of...
Okay, so this is actually a good example of a place where this particular mix does hit the red a little bit in the master output here. So I'll just let you see this as an example. Here we go again on the chorus.
I'm staring at you, an army of conscious people banding together to make things happen.
Right? So it's very occasional. It's very short when it does. We're not living up there, right? I could probably go back in and address the compressor a little bit more, maybe raise the ratio or close down the threshold a little bit more on these vocals, because that's most likely where it's coming from, just judging by, well, what I know of the song. Okay, so I could work around it, but I do think it's livable. Okay, so now let's say you've done all of this and you've followed all these rules, you haven't gone over anything, and you're not living in the red on anything, and you're still running this gain plugin in your master track at plus 6 dB. Okay, you've done all that. Now you're ready to master. What you're going to do is come up to this plugin and boom, you're going to turn it off. Your whole mix will now drop, you guessed it, 6 dB, and it'll be, in theory, around negative 6 dB. Now, of course, with a little bit of red living in there, I do know it might be a little bit above, but I think it's livable for most mastering purposes. GarageBand, hey, I know we're limited. We are limited because we don't get actual increments on our meters, but there's ways to do it visually, and it's better to do it visually, I think, at the beginning for sure. And you're using your ears more, and you know, you're using your eyes more before you get into the deep, dirty, technical stuff. But now, if I push play, well, let's start at the top of the chorus with it on.
I'm staring at you,
Now I'm going to turn this off.
army of conscious people banding.
You see how much headroom was easily created by simply turning this off, right? So now it's more or less ready to be exported or simply mastered right now, right here inside of GarageBand on that master track. Hope you got something out of this video, you guys. I really, really do. And hey, thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much for subscribing. I'm getting so close to 100,000 subscribers, and I'm super, super happy about that because I've been here for 11 years, and I'm still scratching my way to the top of that little post. So anyway, you guys have an awesome day, and I will talk to you soon. Peace, love.